And Moses spoke to the leaders of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord has commanded. If a man makes a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself with a pledge, he shall not break his word, he shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. If a woman also makes a vow to the Lord, and binds herself by a pledge, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and her pledge with which she has bound herself, and her father says nothing to her, then all her vows shall stand and every pledge with which she has bound herself shall stand. But if her father forbids her in the day that he hears it, none of her vows or of her pledges with which she has bound herself shall stand, and the Lord will forgive her because her father forbade her. And if she has at all a husband when she vowed, or uttered anything out of her lips, with which she bound herself, and her husband heard it and said nothing to her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her pledges with which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband forbids her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, with which she bound herself, of no effect, and the Lord will forgive her. But every vow of a widow, and of her that is divorced, with which they have bound themselves, shall be binding on them. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound herself by a pledge with an oath, and her husband heard it and said nothing to her and did not forbid her, then all her vows shall stand and every pledge with which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband has made them void on the day he heard them, then whatever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the pledge of herself shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and the Lord will forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband says nothing to her from day to day, then he establishes all her vows or all her pledges which are upon her. He confirms them because he said nothing to her in the day that he heard them. But if he makes them void after that he has heard them, then he shall bear her guilt. These are the statutes, which the Lord commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house.